Tuesday morning, Mayor Knowles of Ferguson starts calling me, starts calling the Speaker of the Missouri House, starts calling other lawmakers, desperately reaching out when the governor will not take his call. Now, that is an abdication of responsibility, and poor Mayor Knowles, his testimony is, quote, I sat on my back porch and watched my city burn, and was crying out for leadership, crying out for an executive to take responsibility. The fact, though, Sean, is that neither I, as lieutenant governor, nor any lawmaker has the executive power. All the executive power as commander-in-chief of the Missouri National Guard resides with the governor.
Listen, I'm listening to everything that you're saying here, and I'm amazed. I am just shocked that, you don't even have conversations with the governor. The decision, which you supported publicly, to bring in the National Guard, you only knew about it because of what you heard publicly. He didn't consult with you. He didn't talk to you. He didn't, where is this animosity coming from him that even in a moment of crisis and emergency that he's playing politics and won't even bring in people that should be in his inner circle?
Sean, it is his MO throughout his career. He was 16 years as Attorney General. His whole modus operandi is to surround himself with lawyers like himself, trusted associates of many, many years, and to listen to them and listen to them only. And what we're finding out is that even inside the Missouri Democratic Party, there are no defenders for Governor Nixon, given his behavior since Monday afternoon, Monday night, and yesterday morning.
So you're calling for the governor to be put under oath about this question of why the Guard was not sent to Ferguson when they were most needed. And what do you suspect the answer is going to be?
I don't know. It seems to me the governor is down to two choices. Either the governor took suggestions or strong suggestions, or if not orders, from Washington, D.C., from the Holder Justice Department or the Obama White House, or both. Maybe he got a call from Vice President Valerie Jarrett. In fact, she has confirmed that she's been regularly on the phone to him. That's an interesting minor datum in this, Sean.
Well, but there's one other addendum to that. If you were listening to the prosecutor McCullough the other night, I mean, he made it very clear how closely he was working with Eric Holder in the Justice Department. I've got to believe that the Obama White House had been given a heads up, not only that a decision had been rendered by the grand jury, but what that decision was, no?
Yes, and I'm now hearing from Democratic sources in St. Louis who are reliable that McCullough made the announcement when he did because he was worried about leaks from the Holder Justice Department. And in other words, they would not have announced it at 8 p.m. Central Time Monday night, but for pending leaks that were going to come out of the feds. And that's a sad commentary on where we are. But I want to get back to the choices that Governor Nixon has. Either he is taking orders from somebody in Washington, D.C., who I mentioned, about not deploying the Guard, or he is grossly incompetent as a leader and a chief executive. Now, which is it?
It's an interesting question. What powers does the state legislature have? What powers do you have to compel Nixon to actually answer these questions?
Well, the state legislature has powers to convene an investigative committee of the House and or Senate, or combined. That committee, that panel will be seated early in the new year to investigate. They then have subpoena power. They will request appearances from witnesses, and if they don't agree to appear, they will get a subpoena compelling them to appear. Now, it is not certain that they can compel the governor, but they can compel everyone working for the governor to appear. That includes the Adjutant General of the National Guard, who I've been told wanted to send his men and women in and was told to stand down, or, was given the order that they were not to go in. They were kept miles away. Now, you can say it was a stand-down order, and you can get into a completely fruitless semantic quarrel about whether it's a stand-down order or not, and you're familiar with some of that. But someone kept them away when they should have been deployed. There should have been 50 guardsmen and women armed standing in front of those stores, and they would not be burned out cinders today.
Wow, unbelievable story.
I don't think they would have had to use any of their weapons. I just don't think the bad guys and the arsonists would have tossed their bombs had there been guardsmen there in front.
I listen, we're talking about a couple of thousand that were available, and especially on that. Certainly that would have been in the best interest on Monday night. That would have been in everybody's best interest to have had those people there. We're talking more specifically about the people that live in the Ferguson area, those whose businesses were looted. Those cops that were being pelted with rocks and bottles, those cop cars that were put on fire.
Yes, and a local TV station, Channel 4 KMOV, reported that a majority of the stores that were burned are owned by minorities.
That's all minority business.
Under the Obama-Nixon policies, minorities are suffering the worst.
Anyway, we really appreciate you being with us, Peter Kinder, who's the Lieutenant Governor of the great state of Missouri. Thank you. 800-941-SEAN.
Thanks so much, John, for having me on.
One of the biggest failures and flaws ever. You got to wonder why. You know, they called up the Guard, and then when they're needed, they're not sent in. All right, so there's no contact with the Lieutenant Governor, no contact with the legislature. The mayor can't get a hold of the governor. The only people that has the ear of the governor is Valerie Jarrett. Who did he say? The VP? I know he was kidding. I mean, seriously?